I'm Sam, and this is part 5 of swapping in a big block Ford into my old 1977 school bus. This is a big project, and if you've been following along, it's been a long way just to get the motor in place, but I finally had it in, was ready to crank it, and, well, little did I know there was a lot more to be done. Here we go. I've got hours and hours of video of me trying to struggle to get this thing running. So let's just go ahead and get a little synopsis here of how the last couple weeks of the project went. After I got the motor all installed and everything trying to crank over, I couldn't get it to start for anything. It ended up that the computer, the PCM, had gone bad, which is common for this era of truck, and I just didn't know that at the time because I hadn't had it running. This was a big setback because I didn't really know these trucks very well, and it took a lot of work just to figure out that, well, it needed to have the PCM replaced, which was a couple $100 and took about a week or two to get. And then at that point, I was able to put that in and make sure that all the systems were a go. This was also relying on the fact that I had to do all the electrical myself and figure out what needed to connect to what in order to make this truck run. It's got a lot of different sensors and signals that go to the PCM in order to tell it how the truck is operating and whether or not it should start. It took a lot to figure out what connected to what, and eventually I got it all in there. The motor would turn over and I had fuel pressure, but I still couldn't get it to start. Ryan, this is where I'm at with it. I got the new PCM installed and everything seems to be functioning now that that other PCM was not doing, and this is where I'm at with it. After a long painstaking day, the sun is starting to go down, and this may be what it takes to actually get this to run. I'm like 90% confident now that I can put this in for the gray one because they changed something in 94 and they went from gray to black in addition to how they operate. So the gray one wasn't proper, and we'll see if this does the trick. I swapped in the black ignition control module for the gray one, and that did not work either. I decided to double check the entire ignition system, swap out the distributor, the plug wires, the spark plugs, the coil, everything on the top end that I could easily get to. I double checked the timing and made sure everything was set up right, but it would still just barely cough. I went through and started double checking the compression, and I found that I had a cylinder that was low. It turned out that when the motor was put back together after the machine shop, the timing set wasn't quite right. And then upon cranking, I had bent a valve. So I had to take everything back apart, take it down, get the cylinder heads off, replace the valve, and then put it all back together. All told, it took a couple weeks to get the block torn down, all the parts I needed, and put it back together, double checking all the specs. It took a lot, but I was happy to have it done, and at the end of the long days, I could rest easy knowing that one of these days I'd be on the road again. Okay, I got everything back together and it spins around nice and smooth. So next thing to try is ignition. Okay, let's try that again. Take 400. Will it run? Interesting. Start it right up.
That's really low idle.
Yeah, the timing's off.
So advance it a little more. Boy, does that sound good compared to
Right there, that's it. Yeah, that's time for the happy dance. I finally got the thing running, and on the next episode, watch me and Brandon figure out how to get this thing finally on its first test drive, work out the last of the kinks, and finally get on the road to happier times. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.